Welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen, and this is my Texas Zone 8B9A garden. In this video, I'm going to be redoing pretty much all of the pots around the yard. I'm going to be moving some that are now getting buried with other things growing. I'll also be moving a few of the others, and I'm going to be updating the plants for more Texas sun-loving heat plants. But to start out with, I'm getting bit by an ant. To start out with, I have irrigation lines going up into these terracotta pots through the center, so it's been watering it directly into the pots themselves. So I'm going to be taking the irrigation lines out. To do that, I'm going to have to come back here to get back there comfortably. All of this, I needed to cut it out anyway. This is another bush I don't want here. I've been cutting it back. I put the coleus in. I put this rock in over one of the bases of one of the bushes I don't like. So obviously that's not growing back. So I'm going to clear this out, and then I'm going to climb back there behind this larger bush to get to those terracotta pots. And they are heavy. They've got soil, and the soil is moist and everything else. Anyway, I'm going to try to roll them over on their side just to access the line, pull it out, and my son and my husband will be moving those to a new location. But that's just to start on these two. All of the pots around the yard are going to have some work done. I'm taking all of this out here, and I have to be careful because the soaker hoses and the irrigation lines are also back here, and it is super easy to cut those, people. So let's start with the big one first, and I'm just going to lift it up. I have it on bricks, and you can see the line, the water line, goes straight through the bottom, and this has been wonderful. I haven't had to worry about watering it at all. It's made life so easy. Ugh. Let me get that out. Okay, so I'm hopefully going to be able to just feed the line back. Now I could just cut this line and cap it, but I'd prefer not to do that. Now where is it? I'm trying to find it inside here. All right, I'm just going to loosen up. There it is. Loosen up the soil so this feeds out a little bit easier. But there we go, and it came out. Now I'm just going to turn this to close the little nozzle, because for the moment we don't need water line dripping out of here. All right, so that's one. And I'll move this line out of the way. As I said, my son and my husband will be moving these for me. They're just way too heavy for me to pick up. Okay, now this guy. And again, feel for the line inside. Loosen up the soil a little so that the top doesn't pull off. If it does, again, no big deal. I can put a little stopper there. But I'd kind of like to leave these running, because I think both of the coleus needs more water than it's getting. And so we have two lines, and two plants like to get more water. And I'm just digging in the soil in the pot, guys, to again loosen this up to get it out of that hole. I'll get there. There we go. All right. Oh, you know what? On this one, I think I put the drip line, this little red part here, and this you can adjust how much water goes in and comes out of this. I think I put this back on once I got this irrigation line. Yeah, folks, I'm going to cut it, and I will just reattach a new one. make life easier. So apparently this one I did not feed the drip line up through it. This one, I mean the actual water line I did, the cap part I must have attached once it was at the top. So that's off. Definitely need to put it back on here soon, because when the irrigation lines go off, water will come pouring out of here, and there will be no controlling it. So I'm going to leave this over, come around the front. Let's see. I have a kit with more of this tubing and more drip irrigation caps. Oh, this one's kind of sideways. Hold on. And screw it. See if I can screw it back on straight. If it's not straight, then you cannot adjust the water flow properly. Is this defective? Let's see. Nope, it's going back on. Okay, it was just screwed on sideways. The more you unscrew it, more water comes out. The more you turn it the other direction, less water comes out, and you can turn it off completely just by turning in right in a clockwise direction. Okay, so this has got like a little spike on it, and it just slides into the tube. Now, sometimes I need a lighter to soften up these lines. Oh, nope, didn't need it that time. Okay, so it's on. This tube, which was in the smaller one, I'm going to move over to the right to go to the coleus that's over here. The one coming from the larger one in the back, I'm going to have go to the base of this coleus, because it does not look like it's very happy, or definitely not getting enough water. So the other line will feed in here. These flowers back here are pretty. I am going to be adding or replacing these with more summer Texas friendly plants. But for now, they're fine. They will be moved within the next day or two, so I'm not concerned about the lack of irrigation in either of these at this moment. And these little stakes are pretty self-explanatory. That little circlet just goes around the water line, and then you just put the point exactly where you want your plant to receive its water. And it just stops it from moving around, because when the water pressure goes on and off, it can move around just slightly. All right, so this coleus is going to get tons more water now, which makes me happy. And I am working on, because I have about 3 possibilities for where I want these terracotta pots to go. None of them have irrigation yet. Now, we just set this irrigation up going all the way along the back fence. Goodness, just like a month ago. I have a videotape on how we set it up. It really wasn't that difficult. My problem with wherever these are going to be is a water source. All the way along the fence in this direction, there is a faucet literally against the fence, away from the house. So it's been perfect for setting up irrigation along here. The other places I'm moving it do not have a water source that is readily available, so that will take some troubleshooting. Still pretty, still blooming. These are spring flowers. I think the only reason, and the petunias, the only reason they're still alive is because it gets a lot of shade back here and a lot of protection from the sun. But these will go down quickly, and I want a Texas flower in here, a summer loving Texas, Central Texas type of flower. On to the next. I think this may be the best home for the terracotta pots. We'll see. This is in my Mexican petunia fence, going down in the corner, and I'll show you everything I'm planting down there. But as far as the pots go, I think this is going to be the new home for them, and I'm debating what to put in here. So I think I've decided I like these pots here in this location at these angles. This again is in the Mexican petunia side of the fence, just a little bit farther down. I'm going to take the Calibrachoa and the petunias and plant them over in the same section I pointed out for the Calibrachoa and petunias we took out of on either side of the bench garden. Those will end up in the same location in the shade zone. These are still not hot weather plants. Once we hit triple degree temps, they will probably not do well. But for the moment, they're going to do tons better in the shade garden than they are going to do in these pots. This area gets morning shade, but pretty much brutal afternoon sun. So I think the plants that I picked out will be better for here. First things first, I'm going to dig these up and move them. I've chosen this beautiful bicolor purslane. I think it will do okay here. It does get, as I said, pretty brutal afternoon sun, and purslane is a sun-loving plant. The other benefit for Central Texas is it loves the heat. And again, you buy a pot, you don't have to just plant the whole thing in one area. You can split them up into smaller plants, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put half in one, half in the other. I don't know, folks. I am a little concerned about how these are down turning, but purslane will orient itself, and I'm kind of hoping you're going to see some of these branches coming up. And I'll follow this section immediately with how it looks a week from now. Well, it seems my concerns were completely unfounded. These have turned up and look absolutely stunning and gorgeous. I'm so happy. Okay, these pots I'm so thrilled with. And this is just 24 hours later. So I've decided to keep these pots located where they are back in here. I'm just going to be planting more for going into the summer. Let me take these down. You have two options when you are planting in pots. You can choose to have it be absolutely stunning and gorgeous immediately, the next day, and the day after, or you can really focus on something that will grow full and beautiful as time goes on. For me personally, I like to plant for this season. So for the moment, it may look a little more sparse, but it's basically what I want to be growing going forward. It's just a different strategy, different plans, and different looks. If you have something special coming up this weekend, you want to plant full, beautiful, gorgeous immediately. If you're planning for a season, then you want to think about how big those plants will grow. So here is the plan. The pot that was hanging higher up is really in deep shade. I wanted something you could visually see, even from a distance. So the lighter leaves of this petunia, although it is so leggy and it is not happy, so it is coming out. And I think I'm going to put it in the shade garden with the others. I've chosen these are begonias, more that same color, that brighter green with white flowers. I think in the shade, you're going to see this visually much easier. For the one that was lower down, this one, and these are snapdragons, and they will also go out into the yard. I chose the richer begonias with the pink flowers because this one is going to be more visible. Now these should carry me through Texas summer. So while my sister is moving the snapdragons and the petunias that came out of here, I am going to go ahead and start planting these. This is good soil. We had some rain last night, which is very wonderful, and all of my plants are so happy. But soil is very moist, so I'm not even going to, don't even think I'm going to water this one because we're expecting more rain tonight. I'm just going to mix in the very muddy soil from underneath with some plant tone, some flower tone, and then I'll put them in. There we go. Okay. These do, out in the elements, in the heat, they do get brittle. They will break, and that's fine. I save absolutely every pot I get when I pick something up from the store. So we have this other one available. This is perfectly fine. So we'll use this one for the low. These are ready to go back up. I just need to, before I hang it, reattach the water line. One of them is longer for this one. That goes all the way up on the top hook. And it will get watered directly in the pot through the irrigation system. I'm going to angle this a little bit differently. I'll just get it up there for right now. And this one is going to go on this lower hook with this irrigation line. All right, this one's bigger than the other one, so it's sitting a little bit lower. I may be playing with this one a little bit. And the lower one is a little bit bigger, so I had to adjust the hook just a bit. It's pretty much sitting on top of this bush. But I'm happy with how they look. With this on this side, I'm happy with how they look. And I think going forward, they are going to be gorgeous. Well, here we are 4 days later, and I decided to switch these around. That lighter green leaf white flower begonia, it just disappeared when it was on the upper hook between those bushes. So I switched them around. I think I like this better. I'm sure they will fill out very quickly. For these two pots, today I'm going to be putting in more brutal Central Texas heat plants. These Calibrachoa and the petunias, although they don't have much longer to go in Central Texas, are still very pretty. So we're going to be transplanting them over to a shady zone on the Mexican petunia fence, where those Mexican petunias are growing. Down the fence farther, almost in full shade. Anyway, first step first, we're going to be taking these out, and then we'll get our new plants going in. So the plan is to move the Calibrachoa and the petunias, or what's left of them, into this part of the shade garden on the Mexican petunia fence, and just put them in here, dot them in here, dot them in here. They don't like triple degree temperatures, but they may be happy in even deeper shade over here. Okay, so those are on their way to the other side of the yard. I'm just going to loosen this up. It's all very good soil. Ooh, there's something growing back here. And I am thinking about running an irrigation line down here for these. There's no water source over here. And frankly, to get the hose around here to water this as often as it needs has been a pain. So the plants I chose, although everything needs watering, will not require as much as other plants I could have chosen. All right, I'm gonna add some biotone, mix it in, just to make it super duper healthy. Start for the plants I'm putting in. Now I'm gonna move the camera around the front so you can see the viewpoint you see when you walk into this area, and when you're looking out the dining room window, the view you're gonna see as well. So this is the angle you'll see walking into this area or looking out the dining room window. So this is sort of the direction I want the pretty to be going. So here's my plan. Sweet potato vines. I have 2 lime green, and these will grow huge and they will trail. Warning, if you plant these actually in the ground, they will be very difficult to control. These things are total bullies. But in pots, they seem to be, from what I've read, far more manageable. And then I'm going to put a red potato vine in the center. Now, I've got some variegated vines in the front swoop, and you can see that in my tour. And I actually cut several of those, put them in water to let them root for a little bit. But those will be coming down here and here. So it'll be green, variegated green and white, red, variegated green and white, and then again back to the lime green. Then I bought a large pot of, well, vinca. These are kind of tried and true. They grow fabulous in Texas. They just grow like crazy, and they add color. So I did want some color back here, but I wanted something to drape over the front. Now, in these pots, and I'll tell you folks, in most pots, if you take a look, there are actually many plants in one pot. So you do not have to plant this down in just one, hole. You can break up the little plants and plant them wherever you want to. Now, in this case, since I have 2 of these big pots, and I've got these potato vines for the other side too, so what I'm going to do is split these up. So put one darker pink over here, one over there, a purple here, purple there. I'll basically divide them in half. Okay, so here we go. Here's the fun planting time. All right, so that's it for this one. Now, all of these flowers will grow big and fill in, and those vines will grow heavy and long and more broad, and they will drape down in that area and just make it even more beautiful. All right, so I need to add a little more soil on top, taking out the other plants. Definitely took out more soil than I had actually intended. And then I'll do the other pot and then water both. Now these two pots should carry us through summer. Potato vines have no issue with our Texas weather, and vinca are heat-loving plants. The only question mark is going to be, is the one on the vinca on the right going to get enough sun to flower? I know the ones on the left definitely will. They get far more sun. Big question mark. If not, I'll find a shade heat loving plant, flowering plant, to put behind those potato vines if those vincas don't work out. But for these two pots, we are finished. I'm going to be adding some angelonium to the left and right of both of these pots. I want some height and the flowers on both sides. Over there I have Sweet William, which, although it's still flowering a little, it won't be for much longer. And then in the ground over there, you can see it's completely dead in front of the begonias. That is a Calibrachoa, which bloomed beautifully in the spring, but has since decided it was finished. So both sides, I think, definitely I'm going to put an angelonium over here. I know it loves the sun. Over there, man, it's going to have a lot of shade. I think I'll hold off on planting the angelonium over there for now. I'm going to look into that a little bit more. Anyway, these two pots are finished. And yes, the leaves are not draping perfectly yet. And obviously the flowers aren't full and gorgeous over the top. But once these leaves orient to the position they're in now, and once those vinca start getting happy where they are, you're going to see a gorgeous explosion from both of these pots. And here we are 4 days later. What you didn't see was me planting the angelonium to the right of this pot. I removed the dead Calibrachoa that was there. But other than that, you can see the leaves have now oriented. They are falling forward exactly as I like them. And the vinca are doing very well in this pot. So I'm pleased. This one over here, the potato vines are not growing as quickly as I'd like, but they've already oriented up, and I'm real pleased with that. And of course, the vinca over there are absolutely loving life. So this is 4 days later. Here are all of the Calibrachoa and the petunias from the two side pots in the bench garden and from the two terracotta pots. Frankly, they look much happier back here already. And these were just planted yesterday. So I think it was a good move, regardless of what we chose to do in the other pots. These are two pots that my daughter gave us. They cleaned out their garage and they were throwing everything away. And I went, no! Pretty pots. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them here or not, but for now, I sort of like them in this shade garden. And we're going to plant the two polka dot plants from that front raised bed on the porch into here. A little trick I do when planting these larger planter pots and putting in plants that really don't need this amount of space, also to save on soil, is using bottles that normally would end up in the recycle bin, and they just take up some of that area. What's going in here are polka dot plants. They do not need this much soil for them to go into. So this just helps. It's just a little tip. Okay, so the polka dot plants are in. They look so small in these pots, but they will grow fast. I like it. It gives height to both sides of this corner. And these polka dot plants are just gorgeous. I'll give you a closer look. There's just something so pretty. And as I said, what I wanted over here was for things to look very lush. This is about 4 days later, and this polka dot plant seems to absolutely love its new location. However, this poor polka dot plant has not decided whether it is going to survive or not. Not sure what the problem is. Maybe the roots were just a little more damaged when we took this one out of the raised bed on the front porch. But that one is loving life, so I'm going to take this as a win, and I will work on the other one, maybe fertilize, water it a little bit more, and see if I can baby it through this, just finding the new location and getting happy with it. And as I've said in earlier videos, I love this area. It's always in the shade in the summer. It's just the perfect spot to cool off. I added this peace lily that I divided from the front porch last year and planted out this spring. Kind of like it, but I want something else over here too. So this coleus is going to go in this pot, which is yet one more from my daughter. Let's get going. This is a coleus Main Street Broad Street. How pretty is that? I am happy with how that looks, and that will grow very full over the next few weeks. So on to the next pots. And this is the front porch. I have 4 window boxes across the front, primarily with very leggy petunias and a few areas that just aren't very happy. And then this raised bed up here, I'll give you a closer look. So this area, we're upgrading these pots as well. I just wanted to let you see the before. And here's the side view of the raised bed on my front porch with the, you can see the window boxes right in front of it. So this entire area is going to be updated. I'll show you the after photos. We have 6 of these window boxes. Now, several of them aren't happy, but they're still alive. These will go get planted into the yard. But we're going to take everything out of all 6 window boxes, and we're going to put in 3 of the moss roses into each window box. I think that they'll be much happier going into summer with these. And I think all of the flowers we have in the window boxes back here will be much happier out in the yard in the back. We have a lot of bulbs in here that were planted, and they were beautiful in the spring. I'm not going to dig them up though. I'm going to leave them, and they will be there ready to come up next spring. But what we are going to plant once these are moved into the center is angelonium. And we are going to put 3, and we're going to angle them in the direction of the front. We're not going to do this. Just sort of angle them just a little bit. And we're going to put purple in the front and white in the back, I think is what the plan is. And we have several of them that will go along. So I think this is going to be a gorgeous raised bed facing the front of the house on the front porch. Okay, this is the side view of the front raised planter, planted all Angelonium, purple in the back, white in the front. I'm going to give you a view from the front. So that's the raised bed complete for the moment. I think you're going to see that purple and white blend in a lot more than it is right now. So on to the window boxes. Window boxes right now, just pulling out plants that are in it and starting to rough that soil up, and we'll amend it to get it ready for the new flowers. Okay, so the 6 pots are all planted. Everything's facing forward for a prettier street view. And the trays are also washed. They're ready to go out on the front porch rail. All right, these portulaca in the 2 front, back up, they are going to fill in very rapidly. That's a kalanchoe in the back that I just deadheaded, and new flowers are growing up. I will videotape this update in about a week, and I think you're going to see a pretty remarkable difference. And here we are 1 week later. The portulaca is starting to bloom. It's clearly a little fuller. I think it's getting established still. And behind it, the kalanchoe is starting to bloom as well. So I'm really pleased here. So we're finished with the window boxes and the raised front planter on the front porch. Again, this will fill in dramatically over the next week. I will do a before picture, an after video immediately following this one. And this is a week later on the front porch raised bed and the window boxes. They are fuller. I had to look at the last week's video just to see, but yes, they are definitely fuller. They have tons of buds on them. A few are starting to open up. I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. In the pots we have on either side of the front door is currently Cineraria, which is going to be moved to the back shade garden. And in its place, I'm planting some New Guinea Impatiens. Should add a lot of color and be absolutely stunning here. And very important, will get through the summer. Okay, so I think that's going to be absolutely stunning, and it will definitely carry us through the summer season in Central Texas. Uh, Absolutely gorgeous. New Guinea impatiens and bird of paradise.